Who am I speaking with, please?
Yeah, well, who's this, Sonny?
This is Sonny Cool, yes.
Yeah, hey, Sonny. I tried touching base with you, and I tried to explain.
Okay, who are you?
Well, I'm one of the administrators of Green Beret Posers Exposed, and
Hey, what is your name? Oh, by the way, I'm having this recorded, so what is your name?
Steve Anson. I just wanted to give you a courtesy call. I'm also recording it, which in Ohio you don't have to tell anybody for future reference. I wanted to give you a opportunity to explain why you're not in any Special Forces database. We have your records. You're never a Ranger. You're never military freefall, never Pathfinder, any of that.
So,
You
why? You've been talking to my ex-wife.
No, but what? No.
No.
We have records at Special Warfare Center of everybody who's been a Green Beret since 1952, and you're not in there. You and I both know you were never in Special Forces. And now so does the VFW and the American Legion, and we're going to contact the other organizations that you belong with. And this is by no means a harassment call.
Yes, it is. It is harassment.
No, it's not.
If I've done something wrong, I suggest you take me to court. Okay?
You were never a Green Beret. You and I both know that.
You listen, sir.
Huh?
If I've done something wrong, you take me to the courts, okay?
Where were you at in the 5th?
Vietnam.
No, but I mean, what unit in the 5th?
Alpha 332.
Well, how come we have we have your records as being a military policeman for your career?
I was detached to Alpha 332 Menton Rubber Plantation.
For how long?
My God, I don't remember now. Hell, that's been 50, 60 years ago.
I mean, was it a month or two, or was it a half a year, a year?
I left. I'm 80 years old.
Yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate I appreciate you taking the time and calling me back. See, my only concern is we have a response from the schools that you're absolutely not in the database, okay? And they have a record of everybody back to 1952, so that brought up some major red flags. So that's
when it was started, 1952.
Yeah, correct. But so that's when we decided to send off for your records. And from day one of you entering the service till the time you ETS'd, you have 0 Special Forces time.
Someone said the other day that I didn't go into service until 62. I retired in 73 with over 20 years of service.
Okay, but be proud of your service, and I thank you for your service. My only question is, in those over 20 years of service, none in your records show that you were a Green Beret or were even attached to Special Forces.
Well, I don't know what happened. I'm not trying to make an excuse or anything. I don't know.
But also, you're not showing up in the Ranger School database. You're not showing up as, and I appreciate how we're keeping this conversation civil. You're not showing up as military freefall or Halo database as having been to Halo school. You're not showing up in the Pathfinder database as having been to Pathfinder school. And the uniform you wear is totally wrong. Special Force, and anybody in Special Forces knows that. You don't wear the blue infantry cord, and you don't wear the blue backing on your brass.
We wore that in the infantry before.
Yeah, that's correct. But once you go SF, you stop wearing that.
When we first went SF, we wore the U.S. Army unassigned.
I'm talking about the backing, your infantry backing on your brass.
We didn't wear a backing then.
Well, then why did you put it back on?
Same way I would wear the crossed arrows legally, I guess I'm supposed to wear that because ours was cross rifle.
Okay, now, do you have anybody, and this would be great if we could find some people that would vouch for you, but I'm on this forum. It's called The List, the Special Forces Team House List. Probably like 1,200 members in there. I'd say nine of them are from Special Forces in Vietnam. At the height of SF in Vietnam, there was roughly 2,000 to 2,100 Green Berets. If 900 of them are in, or 800 to 900 of them are in one particular area, one forum, and 0 of those 900 men recall the name, because Sonny Cool is a fairly uncommon name. That would stick out in somebody's head. Nobody. We have many people from, what unit did you say you were in? 332?
Alpha 332.
We have many from Alpha 332 in there, and none of them know you.
Menton Rubber Plantation.
Yeah, we have many of them in there from that unit, and none of them remember you. And you're not in Sherman. Steve Sherman has a couple databases of SF and SOG of everybody that was in Special Forces that was on orders to Vietnam. You're not showing up in there.
Okay,
you're not.
So, good friend of mine was Sonny Fontaine.
Okay.
Colonel, I think he retired as a lieutenant colonel. Got out. They called him back to active duty. Last I heard from him, he was living out in Las Vegas.
Well, we'll now. Why do you throw that name out? Does he know you were SF beyond any doubt? Or was
I worked with him when I went back to Germany. I was assigned to the 504th.
Yeah, but see that then no reason for me to contact him, because that has nothing to do with Special Forces. Okay. You know, being on the same FOB or walking past them daily doesn't make you a Green Beret. I
didn't say it did.
But when did you go through a training group?
The what?
SFTG to earn your Green Beret. When did you go through that?
60. I was with the 8th Division. I left there in 61. I believe it was 61. 60 or 61, somewhere along in there.
Okay, now, why can't they find you in Special Forces records?
Sir, I don't know.
Right.
Honest to God, don't know.
Right. Yeah, have you ever heard of Cobbler's Woods or Pineland?
Yeah, Pineland. They're South Carolina.
Not really.
Well, down on the border there.
It's actually North Carolina.
I mean North Carolina. I was thinking, what the hell did I say? South Carolina, North Carolina.
Yeah.
They're, outside of Fort Bragg.
Yep. Do you know what the obstacle course is that you run? What its nickname is? These are just questions that
You're asking me questions that's been, 50, 60 years ago? I don't know.
All right. I'll have to agree with you on that. And it might not, I'm probably thinking it wasn't what it is called now back in your day.
In fact, we didn't have the JFK Center at that time. It wasn't renamed until later on. It was just called the Special Warfare Center.
Okay, now, but not appearing in Sherman's, not appearing in Sherman's SOG, nobody knowing you on the list, one of those would be a red flag, but not 100%. You not being in any of the Green Beret magazines from 60. I thought you said you were in 5th group like later than 61, but I digress. Not being in any of the Green Beret magazines, not being in the database records. I mean, they have record of every Green Beret that's walked this earth. How do you explain 0 on all of that as opposed to me?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
Okay. Now, how really appreciate you calling me back in this civil discussion. I just want to get out there again. Because so many people start yelling and throwing the F-bombs and stuff like that, and it's hard to get to the bottom of this. Because if you're legit, we sure would like to correct that, because we make people famous on these poser websites that if somebody searches your name, the first thing that's going to come up is like 4 or 5 different poser websites that you're not legit. And if we can cure that problem, we'd be the first ones to do that.
I've even got an autograph record of Barry Sadler.
Well, that doesn't mean nothing to me.
I know.
I mean, yeah, I could buy that at a flea market if I search hard enough.
Not with his signature on it.
Yeah, but I mean, I could probably get one, if I search hard enough. But how?
Hey, I'll get some other guys I know.
Yeah.
Let me think. Jim Musgrove. He's at Fort Campbell. Let me think.
Now, while you're thinking of these names, who are some?
He's in Arizona.
But do these guys know you from functions, or did they serve next to you in 5th Group?
No. I don't think they served with me.
Well, see, that's what we were after. I mean,
I was only in the 5th Group. I started out in the 10th in Germany.
Okay. Well, there you go. See, now but you know what? How could a man's records be so messed up? Because not only do they not show you having attended SF training, they don't show you in battles or in Vietnam with group.
We were in Lingris, not a battles was the headquarters, but we were in Lingris.
Oh, but with 10th Group?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
that was Charlie Company.
When you were with 10th Group, what was your MOS?
I went from 11 Bravo to 31 Golf, which was field communications.
Okay. But could you have been support and not SF qualified? And over the years, you've talked yourself into thinking you were SF qualified. Because, I'm still at a loss to see your records that don't show any of that. We have the records for Arnon W. Cool.
Okay.
And it shows you were an MP. Most, if not all, of your career.
MP training.
You're correct. Well, I think you did a lot more than just training. I'm on a 5-mile walk, or I'd read you the records to you, and you could tell me when you were SF, and I said, well, wait a minute, you weren't there, you were here, and then you say, well, man, I guess I was there, because you're telling me your records are messed up maybe 3 or 4 times. How does something get messed up that bad?
I have no idea. We just got a guy, his combat infantry badge, through my VFW and the Korean War veterans, because his records did not show he was in the infantry in Korea. They had him down as the most significant job was an infantryman, but his MOS did not reflect that. That was a 47-45 back in Korea.
Question, bringing up the CIB. When did you go into service, you say?
1950.
All right. When did you get your star on your CIB?
When I got to Vietnam.
So when did you get your CIB the first time?
I got to Korea the 21st of January of 51, about 30 days later.
All right. Now, I'm going to share this information with what you said, and I might have somebody call you. If we could get to the bottom of this and help you, we'll be the ones out in front doing this. But right now, we have a ton of people that are wanting to do just the opposite. And like I said, you've already been posted on Green Beret Posers Exposed. And but how come you're not in the Ranger database? as having attended Rangers?
Here again, sir, that was back in the early 50s. I have no idea.
You know, out of all the databases, the Ranger green cards are probably
one of the best.
They have the absolute undeniable best kept records. And if on the green cards, you never went to Ranger school, and we're not finding you on the green cards.
Yep. Here again, I don't know what to say. I really don't.
Yeah. And how in Pathfinder, none of that stuff. When you ETS, you go over your records and sign them, and they say, "Hey, is everything correct?" Do you remember that when you're sitting there doing that?
I've got 3 or 4 discharges.
You have 3
My
or
last one, I retired at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas.
So now, do you have 3 or 4 DD-214s?
Yes, I do.
Well, maybe we'll
go ahead, sir.
Maybe we'll re-request your records and see more, because the records we got is showing, if I'm not mistaken, and like I said, I don't have them with me, but I'm pretty sure it shows a 20-year career with no SF time. The time we're concerned about is probably between 60 and 73 when you say you ETS. And you say
I retired in 73, yeah.
And you went SF in, what'd you say, 62?
I think it was 61.
61,
60,
okay.
61,
Well, that's the only, we don't give a crap about the 50s or 60 or past 73. We're worried about 61 to 73 when you say you're, now, what did you ETS at? Were you still in group, or when did you leave group?
Oh, I was in Germany. Like I said, when I came back from Vietnam, went back to Germany. They sent me over to the 504th MI Detachment, 4th Armored Division, which was in Gurpiken. Later, we moved up to Ansbach.
But so, in 61, when you came to group, I imagine you're saying you went, what group were you assigned to then?
The 10th.
Okay, at Bragg?
No. They were in headquarters was in Bad Tolls, and we were at Lingris. We had headquarters A, B, and part of C, and Bad Tolls. Lingris, we had a detachment from headquarters and Charlie Company at Lingris.
Okay.
We run all the spatial ops, communications, and intelligence out of Lingris.
Well, that almost sounds like you weren't SF. You were a linguist at that time.
What do you mean?
That almost sounds like you were in a support detachment or something.
No, we were in Charlie Company.
Charlie Company. And now, when you started, you didn't start off at Fort Bragg. You went straight to Germany. No,
I was already in Germany. I volunteered for SF.
There you go. And they didn't send you back to Fort Bragg to go through training group.
Not until later on.
Okay.
I was assigned to the 10th. And when they got out of space, then I came back to Bragg to go to school.
There you go. And that's what I'm saying. So you started off at the 10th as support and before you became SF qualified.
Right. I guess they call them candy stripers.
There you go. Yeah. I know exactly what we had candy stripers when I was in. So you were a candy striper. Now, when you went to, when you left Germany, is that when you went to Vietnam?
Let's see. I left there right after Kennedy was assassinated.
So that was
63.
Yeah, yep. And that's when you went to Vietnam. And
63 was when he was assassinated.
And that's when you went to Vietnam?
Right.
And were you with the 10th then, or the 5th, or what?
No, we were assigned to the 7th Special Forces. Then in 64, under Operation Switchback, we became all under the 5th Group Provincial.
Okay. Now, when you left Vietnam, what year was that? We'll get to the end of this.
I left there, let's see, I was there 63, 64, 65, and half of 66.
And when you left that, where did you go? Back to Bragg or?
Yeah, I came back to Bragg, and then I went down to Benning, or not Benning, to Fort Gordon, to the MP school. I was an instructor there for a while, and then from there, I went to Panama in 67, 68.
Why would they send a group guy straight from Vietnam to be a military police instructor? That's kind of unusual.
My background was police work.
So now when you left, when you started teaching military police at Gordon, did you ever go back to group then?
When I went back to Vietnam in 69 to 70.
They took you from group to be MP and then back to group.
So I was an instructor, then I went to Panama in 67, 68.
Yep.
We were in we were assigned to the 3rd Battalion of I believe it was the 7th. I was on detached special duty to the U.S. Army Tropic Test Center, Fort Clayton.
All right.
And I came back to the States, and I got orders back to Vietnam, 69, 70.
Well, there you go. Now, I appreciate you, both of us being civil. I'm going to take all this information and let those with a better brain than I am, than I own, listen to that and decipher that. And if you wouldn't mind, would it be possible for me to call you back in a few days or a week after
Anytime, sir. I have no problems.
Yep, not a problem. And we'll get to the bottom of it, and I appreciate us both being civil and not raising our voices.
Yes, I was at Rudy Hernandez's funeral because I was there was a couple of us. It was Lou Rudy from Korea.
Yep. Well, and that's the picture. A couple pictures were taken from that, and that's I think the Fayetteville Observer or somebody sent it to us, and that's when we started looking.
It was a cold mother when we were down there.
All right. Well,
we had a special deal for Rudy.
All right. Well, all right. I have those names that you threw out there in your timeline. I'll let some others listen to it. And see, right now it's hard for me to talk. I'm on a 5-mile hike, but
another one is Pat Gallagher out of Pennsylvania.
Who?
He was with 46 Company in Thailand.
Oh yeah. Who's that?
Yeah, he knows me.
Yeah, but okay. Now all these guys that you're saying, who was that name?
Patrick Gallagher.
Okay, now all these people that you've named, did you serve with anybody? Any of them? One of them? As opposed, because that's the big deal with somebody that stood next to you in group that knows you were SF qualified, as opposed to somebody that knows you were a candy striper. That's a big deal because
I understand that.
Yeah, because right now nobody can say, yeah, he was flash qualified. And I'm a member of SF Brothers. We have probably 3,600 people, many from the 60s and 70s, and it's amazing. Their memories are like elephants. They remember everything. And
mine was that good.
Right.
I'm not quite 70 or 80. I'll be 80 in July.
Yeah, all of those guys remember.
I was underage when I went in service.
All of those guys remember, and that's why we're trying to get to the end of it, because nobody said. I mean, Sonny Cool is kind of a name you would remember, and nothing.
Another name. I went under Sandy for a long time.
Well,
but color of my hair.
Yeah, but the thing is, anybody with the last name of Cool is not showing up in any Special Forces database, whether it be AW, Arnon, Arnon W, Arnon Sonny Cool, AW Sandy Cool. None of those are showing up because we search with your Social Security number and your date of birth, and none of those are coming up. And usually a DD2 can be and has been known to have a mistake or two in it.
Right.
It should be corrected when you ETS, bar none. It has to be corrected. If it's not, that's your fault. The guy can only put in what he thinks is correct. But
okay, when I retired, my wings were senior wings. And I contacted, Ron Rosser, Medal of Honor recipient here in Ohio. He was an instructor down at the jump school years ago. And I said, how can I get that changed? Because I met all the qualifications for master wings. And he gave me the number of the school, and I called him and talked to him down there. And then I had to go down to the recruiting station here in Akron and talk to the captain and show him my information. They wrote a letter down to the jump school, and they awarded me my master wings. So,
okay. What about Pathfinder and Ranger tab?
Those were given to me years ago.
But I mean, what about attending the school?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we haven't found it. I'm just saying, SF is an extremely small community, and you would think.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
it's
you would. Well, and you would think that Sherman's database that has everybody on orders in group would have you, and it doesn't. They have. Steve Sherman, he wrote a book that had everybody on order, who's who of Southeast Asia, and who's who of SOG. I don't know if that's the exact words of the book.
You know Mrs. Alexander in the Pentagon?
What? Why? I don't know why.
She handled all 7, 8s, and 9s at SFs.
All right.
Because when I got recalled, I think it was back for Somalia, and I reported into Fort Knox because that's the closest post from here. And they sent me to Bragg, and I spent 2 or 3 days in the 18th Corps down there waiting. And when I called her at the Pentagon, she said, "It's been a mistake. Go home." So I came home. But they took my retirement pay for 7 or 8 days. They gave me active duty pay for that time and travel time.
Okay. Now, how come? What I'm trying to say, do you have orders since you retired in 73? You were not awarded your Special Forces long tab. Have you had orders cut to retroactively award that to you?
So what?
Your Special Forces long tab, the SF tab that you.
No.
Well, how come you wear that?
I assumed that being in Special Forces that was something that we could wear.
Well, what I would almost suggest that you try and get that retroactively awarded to you. But the thing is,
it's all about the Special Forces tab itself.
Yeah,
that we wear over the airborne.
No, I'm talking about the tab that says Special Forces. Yeah, that you wear over the airborne. Correct. Yeah,
you wear
correct.
That above the airborne tab.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in order to get that, you have to send in proof that your Special Forces qualified. And that would be like, do you have...
never told us that.
Yeah, but, I mean, do you have a copy of your Special Forces Training Group diploma or orders when you graduated training group?
Someplace, like I said, it's been, 50, 60 years ago, and I don't keep all that stuff laying around.
Right. Well, I understand that. I just, I'm having an extremely hard time figuring out how come you're not in the database of being SF qualified.
I understand that, sir. I understand that.
Or how you're not in Sherman's SF book or the SOG book or the Green Beret magazine or anybody knows you on the list or SF Brothers. That's probably combined SF Brothers and the list is probably about 5,000 Green Berets. And many...
I was never in SOG.
Well, but what I'm saying is the Green Berets, SF, 5th group, 7th group, and 10th group. You would think, I mean, who was your roommate in group? Didn't you have a roommate that you said quit snoring every night when you were at Bragg or in Germany in the 10th? I mean, we could
have to try to go find some records to find out who I who was in my platoon or whatever, so I can tell you.
Well, who was on your ODA?
It's a hell out of me now.
Well, see, who was your team leader? These are things that you never forget.
He had a lieutenant.
I mean,
I think his name was White.
Yeah, I had a roommate. I'll never forget his name. You know, I don't care if it's 100 years from now and I got Alzheimer's. Those are things that you really don't forget.
Well, you do your checking, and then if you want to call me back in a few days, that's quite all right with me.
All right, man. I'll let you go. Hey, thanks for returning the phone call.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.